Okay, welcome back. So yesterday we kind of looked at a baseline. What does the New Testament say about Jesus in really basic terms? You did your pre-test on Christology, the study of Christ, who the person of Jesus is, what is he, and so on. And you read a little article on Arianism. So you know that's an early heresy that we're talking about right now. So who is Arius? Well, Arius is a priest in Alexandria, Egypt. He's ordained, I believe, at the end of the 3rd century, so maybe the 290s or 280s, around there. And then he is teaching and gets into trouble around the time of the Edict of Milan. There's a letter that you're going to read. He writes a letter to a bishop of Nicomedia named Eusebius, and he writes that somewhere around 318. Okay, so he runs into trouble with his bishop, Alexander. Okay. You'll hear him in his letter, he refers to Alexander, our Pope. Pope is a title that Papa, it comes from the term for father. It was used for patriarchs, which were bishops that legally had authority over other bishops. Okay. The Patriarch of Alexandria was one. In Egypt, the Patriarch of Antioch, of Jerusalem, of Rome, of course. Patriarch of Rome is the Pope, as we know him, the Bishop of Rome, and also eventually the Patriarch of Constantinople. Okay, they're also referred to as popes in the ancient church. So anyway, he's talking about the bishop or the Patriarch of Alexandria, who is his direct bishop. All right. So Bishop Alexandria condemns Arius for his teachings about Jesus. And you'll see in Arius's letter to Eusebius, you'll see him explaining what Bishop Alexander is talking about, and then he's explaining what he himself is teaching. All right, so you get an idea of the two conflicting sides here. But before you read that letter, some important terms that you'll need. Okay. First, nature. Okay, what is a thing's nature? This is a philosophical term. It's talking about the kind of thing that it is. All right, so that's defined by the essential features or what makes that thing what it is. An example, a pen. Okay, what is it that makes a pen and not a pencil? Okay, a pen is a writing utensil with a solid tip. Okay, so it's not a marker that uses ink. Okay, writing utensil, the solid tip that uses ink. I think that's a fair definition of the nature of a pen. Okay, if it used graphite instead of ink, then it would be a pencil. If it had a felt tip or a more porous tip, then it would be a marker instead of a pen. All right, so what makes a pen a pen? It's being a writing utensil, so the intended use, it's got a solid tip and it uses ink. Okay, that's pen nature, if you want to look at it that way. Human nature, divine nature, dog nature. These are all sets of defining characteristics that make us human, for instance, and make God God. Okay, so a thing's nature. A thing's substance is closely related to that. It's kind of the stuff that a thing is made out of. Okay, so an example here: oak trees are all made of the same substance, which is oak wood. Okay, that's the substance that makes them oak trees. Human beings, we are combined body soul composites. So we have a particular type of body and a particular type of soul, and the combination of those two things, the union of those two things, that's the human substance. Okay, there's a divine substance as well. It's the stuff of divinity. It's what God is made of, so to speak. So when you hear substance, think of the stuff that the thing is made of or consists in. Okay, so consubstantial then is saying that something is made of the same stuff. And we'll get to the creed where, of course, we say that the Son is consubstantial with the Father, made of the same stuff, the same substance as God the Father. All right, so those are important philosophical terms. Just a few more. Okay, begotten, to beget something. It means that the thing that is begotten receives the same nature and the same substance, meaning it's the same kind of thing made up of the same type of stuff as the thing that it came from. Okay, so an example: human beings beget other human beings. Okay, when human parents have a child, they pass that human nature and that human substance on to their children. Okay, now the soul is a direct creation by God, but we receive human nature. We are human beings because our parents were human beings. Okay, that's what it means to beget something. Okay, animals do that too, right? Dogs beget other dog creatures because they've got that dog nature. That, in contrast to being created or made. Okay, in technical terminology, this refers to receiving a nature and substance that's different from the thing that you come from. Okay, you could look at this by analogy as when we create a piece of art. Okay, so if I'm making a painting, in a sense, I'm creating something that has a different nature. It's made of a different substance than I am. I'm not creating a human being. I'm creating a painting on a canvas. Different nature, different substance. Okay. But you can also look at this and say God created or made the universe. So the universe does not have that divine nature. It's not made of that divine substance. Okay. The universe is made of a different type of substance. It's got a completely different nature than God, but it's still made by God. All right. So, being created, made means that the thing has a different nature than whatever it came from. Being begotten means having the same nature as whatever it is it came from. All right. We'll see that again in the creed. That's an important distinction because Jesus, or the Son of God, is begotten, not made. We'll get there. And then subsistence, or to subsist. To subsist is to remain in existence. So subsistence is this act of remaining in existence. Okay, you're going to see that term in Arius's letter as well. All right, so those are important. Maybe even write those down. Make sure you got a good firm grasp on those before we dig into this whole conversation. All right, now pause this, read Arius's letter to Eusebius, and do the assignment that goes with that, which involves highlighting and doing a brief summary at the end. Then come back and finish the video when you're done with that. All right, go ahead. Okay, so now you've read the letter, you've done the highlighting and a quick summary. So here's the long and the short of it. Okay, here's what Arius taught about the Son of God. Okay, so God the Father existed prior to his Son. Okay, what that means is that the Son is not eternal. So the Son began to exist at some point. Okay, so the Son is begotten by the Father. He uses that term begotten a little bit loosely, okay, because he doesn't think the Son has the same substance or nature as the Father. But the Son was begotten by the Father and therefore began to exist at some point. So Arius thinks that if something is begotten, then it must come into existence at some point. It cannot be eternally begotten. Okay, so in other words, the Son, because he is begotten, it must have started to exist at some point. And therefore, the Arian slogan is there was a time when the Son was not. Okay, and again, using time loosely here. Okay, there was a time when the Son was not, even if it was just a moment. Okay, so the Son began to exist, but the Son began to exist before the creation of time. Okay, before the creation of the universe, and all creatures were basically made through the Son. All right, so you can look at it as, okay, God, the Father existed, then he begot the Son, and the Son began to exist, and then he created the universe. Okay. All right, God, the Father alone is without beginning and without end. Okay, so God alone is eternal in that he did not begin to exist. He always existed from all eternity. All right, too long, didn't read. Quick summary. God the Father is eternal without beginning or end. And God alone. Okay. The Son is inferior to the Father. He's less than the Father because at some point he began to exist, which means he's also not fully divine. He does not participate in the same substance or nature of God the Father. Okay. All right, that's the quick summary of Arius's teaching. Tomorrow we're going to read St. Athanasius, who responds and is kind of the great champion of orthodoxy, the true understanding of the person of Christ. We're going to read him tomorrow, and that's pretty juicy as well. So look forward to that. Thank you.